Good morning, children. In this class, we are going to start a new chapter. This is our first chapter actually. Real numbers. So far, we have completed statistics and surface areas and volume. In this class, we are going to start real numbers. The topic real numbers is very well known to you, isn't it? You have already studied it in 9th standard very well. Okay, so we will just recollect it and we will immediately go to the 10th syllabus. Okay. Real numbers. What do we call as real numbers? How do we define it? Real numbers are the combination of rational as well as irrational, isn't it? You have studied it in 9th standard. Real numbers are the combination of rational numbers and irrational numbers. You know very well what is a rational number and what is an irrational number. Rational number is a number which can be expressed in P by Q form. You know it, isn't it? So P and Q does not have any common factor. Okay. So rational number is a number which can be expressed in the form P by Q. And you know very well in decimal. For example, if a number is 3.15, this number already gets terminated, isn't it? 15. With 15, the number is terminated. So you know very well, if a decimal number is terminating, that is also a rational number. Okay. Even if a number is not terminating, for example, 10 by 3, that is equal to 3.3333. Okay. So this number is non-terminating, but the digits are repeating. So non-terminating but repeating. Such numbers are also come under rational number. Okay, if a decimal number is terminating, that is also a rational number. Even though if it is not terminating, if the numbers are repeating 333 like that, it is repeating, then also that's a rational number. Then what about irrational number? Irrational number is a number where in the decimal it is non-terminating and non-repeating. That is, the number won't get terminate at the same time, it won't get repeat also. We have studied root 2 is an example for that, root 3 is an example. Yes or no? Yes or no? Pi is also a irrational number because the pi value won't end. It will come 3.14 something, it will be going on. Yes or no? Do you remember that? So these are the rational numbers and irrational numbers. They are come together called as real numbers. Okay. But now in our 10th syllabus, we are going to study a new thing, a new division algorithm, a formula that is called as Euclid's division lemma. Okay, what is that? What is that? What is that? Euclid. Okay, Euclid's division lemma. So based on the topic itself, you can understand that this is related to division. So normally, how will you do a normal division? For example, if you divide 15 by 2, okay, so 15 divided by 2, okay, so what you will do? You will tell the second table. You know 7 2s are 14. 8 2s are 16, more than that. So 7 you will write. Okay, 14 and the remainder is 1. You will call this as the quotient. This as the remainder. And this is the dividend and this is the divisor. Yes or no? This is the normal division. Based on this only, the Euclid's division lemma is given. Okay. So Euclid's division lemma simply can be expressed as a formula like this. A is equal to BQ plus R. How means here you can write in a normal division, dividend is equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. Normally you can write like this, remainder. How means, for example, what is the dividend here? 15. 15 is equal to, what is the divisor here? 2. 2 into, what is the quotient here? 7. Plus remainder is 1. That is 2 into 7 is 14. Are you following me? 14 plus 1 is equal to 15. 15 is equal to 50. Normal. In the same way, this is the Euclid's division lemma. This A represents the dividend and this B represents the divisor, Q represents the quotient and R represents the remainder. Okay, so Euclid's division lemma is given by a theorem. In your book, page number 3, it is given in theorem. It is given as a theorem. So please study this theorem. Theorem 1.1. Let me read it out. It says that for given positive integers, A and B, these are the positive integers, there exist unique integers Q and R satisfying the formula A equal to BQ plus R, where R lies between, R is greater than or equal to 0 but less than equal to B. That is, the remainder value can never be equal to the divisor value. It will be always less than the divisor value. Okay, so let me write it. Given the theorem 1.1, please note it down. Given positive integers A and B, there exist unique integers. What are the unique integers? Q and R. They are satisfying what? They are satisfying the equation A is equal to BQ plus R, and the condition R is greater than or equal to 0 but less than the B. B is nothing but, you see here, this A is equivalent to dividend, B is equal to divisor, Q is equal to quotient and R is equal to remainder. Understood or not? Okay, so this is called as, this theorem, this equation is called as Euclid's division lemma. Based on this Euclid's division lemma, we can find the HCF of any number. Okay, you know very well what is HCF. HCF is called the highest common factor. Okay, you have already studied it. Even then, I will explain HCF once again, and we are going to use this formula, Euclid's division lemma, to find the HCF of two given numbers. Okay, so please copy it down. Okay, children, listen. Now we are going to see about HCF. HCF is the highest common factor. Highest common factor. Okay, so why it is named as highest common? So note this word, common factor. For example, if you consider two numbers, 10 and 40. Okay, so both the numbers have factors. Factor means the numbers which divides this. For example, 10 is divisible by 1, 10 is divisible by 2, 10 is divisible by 5, etc. Isn't it? So these numbers are called as factors. Common factor means the number should divide both the numbers. The factor should divide both the numbers. Okay, so you have to see all the factors which divides both the numbers, and you have to select the highest, the biggest value. So highest common factor can also be explained as the biggest number which divides both the number is called as highest common factor. I will tell you example. So consider 10 and 40. 10 and 40. They both are divisible by 1. No problem. 1 is a common factor. Then they both are divisible by 2. Yeah, they both are divisible by 2. What about 3? No, not possible. 3 is not possible. 10 is not divisible by 3. What about 4? 40 is divisible by 4. But 10 is not divisible. What about 5? 10 is divisible by 5 also. 40 also divisible by 5. So 5 is a common factor. Common factor means the number should divide both these numbers. Then what about 6? No. What about 7? No. What about 8? 40 is divisible by 8. But 10 is not divisible by 8. What about 9? No. What about 10? Yeah. 10 is divisible by 10. 10 by 10 is 1. 40 is divisible by 10. 40 by 10 is 4. Okay. So 10. That's all. Any other numbers? No, not possible. What about 11? 11 will be greater than 10. 12 all will be greater than 10. So not possible. Okay. So only 4 common factors. 1, 2, 5, 10. Among these, which one is the highest common factor? So the highest common factor, that is HCF, is equal to which one is bigger? 10. Okay. So the HCF of 10 and 40 is 10. Clear? Now you understood what is HCF. Let's see one more sum. 15 and 5. 50. Okay. So 15, comma 50. They both are divisible by 1. What about 2? 15 is not divisible by 2. What about 3? 15 is divisible by 3, but 50 is not divisible. What about 4? No. What about 5? Both are divisible by 5. What about 6? Not divisible. 7? No. 8? No. 9? No. 10? 50 is divisible by 10, but 15 is not divisible. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 is divisible by 15, but 50 is not divisible. Okay. 16 not at all possible. Okay. Therefore, only 2 numbers. 1 and 5. Among these two, which one is the highest? 5 is the highest. Therefore, HCF of 15 and 50 is 5. Understood or not? That's all. This is HCF. So you understand one thing. HCF value may be equal to the smallest number or smaller than the smallest number. Among these two, this is the smallest, and this is less than the smallest number. HCF value may be equal to or less than the smallest number. It will never be greater than the smallest of the two numbers. For example, if 10 is the smallest number, HCF value can never be greater than 10. 11, 12, not at all possible. Okay, it may be equal to the smallest number like here, or it may be less than the smallest number. It will never be greater than the smallest number. This is HCF. Understood? So now we are going to see how we are going to use the HCF, Euclid's division algorithm, Euclid's division lemma to find the HCF. Understood? So finding HCF of two numbers using Euclid's division lemma. Okay. So finding HCF of two numbers. We are going to use Euclid's division lemma. We are going to follow a sequence of steps. So it is called as Euclid's division algorithm. Euclid's division algorithm. Okay. So Euclid's division algorithm. So consider any two numbers. Okay. So you have to consider any two numbers. Okay. So consider what are the two numbers. We do the same. 15 and let us take 15 and 40. 15 and 40. The first step represent the given numbers. Represent the given numbers in the form of Euclid's lemma. This is the first step. You have to represent the given number in the form of Euclid's lemma. Euclid's lemma is A is equal to BQ plus R. Okay. So here two numbers are there. Which one you will take A and which one you will take B? A value will be always greater than B. That is, bigger number will be taken as A and the smaller one will be taken as B. So it will give the bigger number is 40. 40 is equal to the smaller number is 15Q plus R. You know very well, Q is the quotient and R is the remainder, and R has the condition R is greater than or equal to 0 but less than B. That is less than the, what is this B? Divisor. Okay. Now, quotient and remainder how will you find? Just divide it. 40 divided by 50. So 15th table, 1 15 is 15, 2 15s are 30, 3 15s are 45, greater. So 2 15s are 30, remainder is 10. Understood? So this 2 is the quotient and this 10 is the remainder. Okay. Now, therefore you will write this as 40 is equal to 15 into, what is the cube? Quotient is 2. Are you all following? Quotient is 2 plus remainder is 10. 10 is the remainder. Okay. So this is the first step. First step is over. Now, second step, you have to check the remainder value. You have to check the R value. Why? Because if R is equal to 0, then the B value gives the HCF. Which means, in case if the remainder is 0 here, then the B value will be taken as HCF. But here remainder is not 0. I will give you an example. Let us take 10 and 40. 10 and 40 will be represented as 40 is equal to 10. So 40 divided by 10 is 4 tens are 40. Remainder is 0. Okay. So it will be represented as 10 into 4 plus 0. Here this is A, this is B, this is Q, this is R. Are you all following? Okay. So remainder is 0. Therefore the B value, this is taken as HCF. We already solved this now. HCF of 10 and 40 is 10. Understood? In case if the remainder value is 0, then the B value is taken as the what? As the HCF. But here remainder is not 0. So if remainder is not equal to 0, what you will do? Apply Euclid's lemma to B and R. To B and R. You may not understand this sentence. I will explain it. If R value is not 0, then you have to apply Euclid's lemma to B and R, which means the previous steps B value. See, this B value will be taken as A and R value will be taken as B. That is what it is mentioned. You have to apply Euclid's lemma to B and R. Instead of applying to 40 and 15, you are going to apply for 15 and 10. Understood or not? Okay. So the previous steps B will be taken as A and previous steps R will be taken as B. Okay. So I hope you have already copied this. So I will tell you. So how you will write? See, the previous steps B is taken as A. This is B now. This B is taken as A. So 15 is equal to, and R is taken as B. R is 10. 10 is taken as B. Understood or not? This is the mean. The previous steps B is taken as this steps A. The previous steps R is taken as this steps B. Now continue. Okay. So 15 divided by 10. 15 divided by 10 quotient 110 is 10. Remaining 5. Okay. So this is the quotient. This is the remaining. Understood? So we will get 15 is equal to 10 into 1 plus 5. Okay. So that's all. Again you have to check for remainder. Again, now remainder is 0 or not? Remainder is not 0. So again you have to. Okay. So this process is repeated till the remainder value becomes 0. So shall we repeat it? Okay. So here remainder is not equal to 0. Therefore what you will do? This is A, B, Q, R. B is taken as A. So 10 is equal to R is taken as B. So 5 Q plus R. That's all. This will be repeated until remainder becomes 0. So now 10 divided by 5. 10 5 na. So 10 5. So 5 2s are 10. Remainder is 0. Therefore 10 is equal to 5 into 2 plus 0. So now remainder is 0. Now sum over. So here that's all. Remainder is equal to 0. Therefore, what is the B value? A, B, Q are not. This is the. Therefore, HCF is equal to, what is the B value? HCF is equal to B value. What is the B value? In this step, not the previous step. B value of this step. What is the B value of this step? 5. So B value is equal to 5. So HCF is equal to. Okay, it's easy only. So first you have to represent it in the form of Euclid's division lemma. Then you have to check for R value. If R value is equal to 0, that's all. The steps B value will be taken as HCF. If R value is not equal to 0, then you have to do one important step. What you will do? You have to apply the Euclid's lemma for B and R. That is, previous step B value is taken as this steps A value. Previous steps R value is taken as this steps B value. And you will continue the same process until your remainder will come 0. Understood or not? Okay. So that's all. We will do one sum. You will get a clear idea. Okay. So please take an exercise 1.1 first sum, first division. We are going to solve it. This is your first sum. Find the HCF of 135 and 225 using Euclid's lemma. Okay. So here, first you write the Euclid's lemma. Euclid's lemma. What is your Euclid's lemma? A is equal to B cube plus R, where R is greater than or equal to 0 and less than B. This is your Euclid's lemma. Yes or no? Okay. Now, here what is A, what is B? Always remember A is greater than B. Therefore, the bigger number, the bigger one, 225 is A, and smaller one, 135 is your B. Okay, so first step, you know, you don't need to write a step, directly do it. First step, what you will do, you have to represent these two numbers in the form of Euclid's lemma. So that gives 225 is equal to 135 Q plus R. So Q plus R, you have to divide A by Q. A is 225. Okay, so you are going to divide it by 135. Okay, in 225, how many times 135 is there? How many times is there? Only one time. So 135 is 135. Remaining how much? 5 by 0, borrow 1, remaining 90. Remainder is 90. So we will write like this. Quotient is 1, remainder is 90. Okay, so 225 is equal to 135 into Q is 1 plus remainder is 9. Okay, so now check the remainder. Remainder is not equal to 0. Here, remainder is what? Remainder is 90. 90 is not equal to 0. So remainder is not equal to 0. If remainder is not equal to 0, then this is A, B, Q Q, R. B will come as A. B is 135. So 135 is equal to, then R will come as B. R is 90. 90 into Q plus R. Okay. So divide 135 by 90. 135, 90. How many times 90 is there in 135? How many times? How many times? Suraj, how many times? Only one time. So 190 is 90. Remaining 45. This is quotient. This is remaining. Are you all following? Okay. Now, that's what it gives. 135 is equal to 90 into 1 plus 40. Now also you check the remainder value. Remainder value is 45. 45 is not equal to 0. Again, R is not equal to 0. Okay. So, if R is not equal to 0, again, this is A, B, Q, R. Again, B value will come as A value. That is 90 is equal to R value. The previous steps R value will come as this steps B value. That is 45 Q plus R. Now, divide 90 by 40. Okay. So 90, 45. How many times? How many times? Come on. Rahul sir, how many times? 45 2s are 90. 45, 90, 135. Na? So 45 2s are 90. Remainder is 0. If the remainder is 0, then you can breathe easily. Okay. So you will get 90 is equal to 45 into quotient is 2. Remainder is 0. That's all. So here, remainder is equal to 0, therefore HCF is equal to which value? This is A, B, Q, R. HCF is equal to B value. That is equal to, what is the B value? The B value is 45. That's all. Okay. Therefore, the HCF of 135 and 225. HCF of 135 and 225 is 40. It's easy, isn't it? If you understand the Euclid's division algorithm, this is easy. You have to continue the first step till the remainder comes equal to 0. Only thing, if the remainder is not equal to 0, then you have to apply Euclid's for only B and R. That is, B will become A and R will become B. You have to continue this till the remainder is equal to 0. Okay. So please copy it down. We will do one more sum and we will close the class. Okay, we will do one more example sum. Now we have completed the first sum, first subdivision. You have two more subdivision in this, so that will be your homework. Okay. So first sum, 3 subdivisions are there. We completed. We have already completed one subdivision. Remaining 2 will be your homework. Now write this example. Show that every positive, please write it all of you. Show that every positive even integer is of the form 2q, comma, and that every positive odd integer is of the form 2q plus 1, where q is some integer. Okay. So when you see this sum, you may find it difficult. What is this? I don't understand anything. Show that every positive even integer is of the form 2q and every positive odd integer is of the form 2q plus 1. You know, even number is a number which is divisible by 2. Odd number is a number that is not divisible by 2. Okay. So how will you solve this? See, when you see this, it's just resembling the Euclid's lemma, isn't it? So solution, first write the Euclid's lemma. Euclid's lemma gives A is equal to BQ plus R, where R value is greater than or equal to 0 but less than b. Okay, so here 2q plus 1, 2q. With q what is there? With q 2 is there now. So here with q b is there, here with q 2 is there. So b is equal to 2. Understood or not? From the question you have to take that b. It is not directly given. Okay, therefore a value is not given, so a will like that. A is equal to, instead of b you can write 2. A value is equal to 2q plus r. Understood or not? Okay. So now r value lies between, r value is greater than or equal to 0 and less than b. Less than b. B is equal to 2 na? Less than 2. Therefore you can write it as, please listen carefully, a is equal to 2q plus r. R value is less than 2. See here, r value is greater than or equal to 0 but less than 2. That is, r value can be 0, it can be 1 but it cannot be 2. We are dealing with positive integers. Understood or not? R value can be equal to 0, can be 1 but it is less than 2. So r value is equal to 0, 1 because it is less than 2. In case 5 is given here means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. In case 6 is given here 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because it is less than 2. Therefore r value 2 possibilities. Understood or not? Okay. What are the possibilities? It may be equal to 0 or it may be equal to 1. Understood? Okay. So if r is equal to 0, that gives a is equal to 2q plus 0. R value is 0 na? So a is equal to 2q. Understood or not? If r value is 0, a is equal to simply 2. Now a is equal to 2q. So if you multiply any number with 2, then the number will be even number. For example, 2 into 1, 2, even number. 2 into 2, 4, even number. 2 into 3, 6, even number. So when 2 is multiplied with any number, the answer will be even number. Therefore, if a is equal to 2q, then a is a even number or odd number. 2q means even number. Even integer. Okay, even integer. Okay. Now, if r is equal to 1, r is equal to 0, now r is equal to 1. If r is equal to 1, gives a is equal to 2q plus 1. See, when a is equal to 2q, it was even. When you add 1 with the even number, then it will become odd number. For example, 6 is an even number. You add 1 with that, 6 plus 1, 7. 7 is odd number now. Okay. Therefore, a becomes, a is equal to 2 plus 1 is an odd integer. Okay. Or you can write like this. If a is equal to 2q plus 1, it gives a is an odd integer. Why it is odd? If you add 2q is as an even one, then with that 2q you add 1 means it will become odd. Understood or not? Therefore, even means 2q, odd means 2q plus 1. That is what asked in the question. See, every positive even integer is of the form 2q and every positive odd integer is of the form 2q plus 1. See here, even integer 2q, odd integer 2q plus 1. Hence, 2. That's all. You can write the final statement like this. Thus, it is proved that every positive integer is of the form 2q and every positive odd number is odd integer is of the form 2q plus 1. That's all. There is the same model sum in your exercise 1.1 second sum. So that's all for this class, today's class. So your homework, exercise 1.1 first sum remaining 2 subdivision and second sum. That's all your homework. So I think that's enough for today's class. Thank you. I will see you in the next class. Okay.